Hi guys, Guillermo is here. Welcome back to the Revit architectural training tutorial. In this tutorial, I'll give you an introduction to the use of the ramp tool. Let's begin. In this Revit architecture tutorial, I am going to give you an introduction to the use of the ramp tool. I'll show you how to create a straight ramp with an intermediate landing. I'll also show you how to change the cross-sectional profile of the ramp. First, select the Architecture menu, and then Ramp, which is located on the Circulation panel. The Ramp tool uses sketch mode. You can create your ramp either by placing down runs or by actually sketching out the runs yourself using boundary and riser lines. We are going to stick with creating runs semi-automatically. So make sure that Run is selected on the ribbon menu. Now before we place a run, let's take a quick look at the Properties palette. Here we can choose the type of ramp we want, and also tell Revit which vertical levels our ramp spans between. I am going to create a ramp that starts at level 1, and goes up to level 2. I also going to create a horizontal landing halfway along its length. So let's create the first run. Starting on the left-hand side of the active view, click to define the start point of the run. Then move your cursor over to the right of the view. Notice how Revit gives you a dynamic running total of the distance you've created, and the distance you still have to place. These values are for the total length of ramp needed to span vertically, between the two levels you specified in the Properties palette. As stated earlier, we want to create a landing halfway up our ramp. With this in mind, we do not want the first run to span the whole distance. Once I make the second click of my mouse, Revit creates the first run. Notice the text below the run confirms the length of the run that we have created and the length still required to reach the upper level we have specified. To create the horizontal landing, I simply need to leave a gap between the end of the first run and the start of the second. So if I now move my cursor over to the right and click the start point, and then move it further over to the right again and click the end point, I create the second run. As you can see, Revit has automatically created the landing between them. All I need to do now is hit the green tick to tell Revit that I have finished sketching the ramp, and instruct it to create the 3D geometry. If I now switch to a 3D view, we can see our new ramp. Notice how railings have automatically been added to each side of the ramp. Also, notice that the ramp itself is of uniform thickness along its length. Sometimes you want your ramp base to be tapered along its length. We can do that by changing one of the type parameters of our ramp. Make sure that your ramp is selected and then hit the Edit Type button in the Properties palette. You are now presented with the type properties for the ramp. We are interested in the parameter named Shape. This parameter simply toggles between two values, thick and solid. Change the value over and then hit Apply. Notice how the ramp is now tapered along its length. We also saw how railings were automatically added to the sides of the ramp and landing. When you are in sketch mode, there is a railing icon on the far right of the ribbon menu. If we go ahead and select this icon, a railing panel opens. This is a simplified version of the same panel that is accessible when creating stair runs. Here you can choose the type of railing that is to be created at the same time as your ramp. If you delete the railings from your ramp and wish to add them back in, just use the railing, place on stair, ramp tool that we have learned in the previous chapter.